So will you go to where, Southwood?
Yeah, probably. We live like half a block away. Most convenient.
All right, Gaby.
So you said that you were like there when in Lake Placid.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? Like, was that?
Well, it was great. I was actually your age. I was in seventh grade. I was a second year Pee Wee. Played for Mounds View A Pee Wees. Going into the Olympics, the most what made me so happy to go and to be excited about going was the fact I got to miss 2 weeks of school. Um, that was the big thing for me and my sister. No one really gave any chance of that team. Obviously winning the gold, no one gave them really a chance of winning a medal at all. And so, just to go to New York City and go to Lake Placid was a huge deal. Um, I've got a lot of memories. The story, the game in Madison Square Garden that I was at, it was 10-3. It probably was, should have been 20-3. The U.S. actually played pretty well. We took an Amtrak train from New York City up to Lake Placid. And I remember, we pulled in. I remember the arena. They were still actually working on the arena. They were still painting the arena. Guys were pounding nails. They weren't quite done with the arena, and security was very, very tight. Was at all the games. Was at the first game against Sweden. There was probably about 500 people in the stadium. It was actually the day before the opening ceremony. It was just dead quiet. You could actually hear the Swedish coach talking in Swedish from the other side of the arena. That's how dead and that's how quiet it was. And so, I always bring that fact up because, if you fast forward 10 days, just in that 10-day period, it went from the most underwatched event to the biggest thing in the world in 10 days. So, didn't get to see my dad a lot because he stayed in Olympic Village. Saw him a couple of times, but the games were awesome. I remember them like they were yesterday. Got to go in the locker room a bunch. The Soviet game, I was sitting above, kind of in the upper corner of the arena, above the catch glove of of Tradiak in Michigan. Michigan was the goalie that came in after they pulled Tradiak. And so I was kind of looking down over their shoulder. So, just wedged in a group, could barely move. There were so many people just packed in. And, you could feel it. There's something magical that night. There's something magical in Lake Placid. You could feel it. There was something special. There's something going on in Lake Placid. I don't know what it was, but it was sure magical.
So Gary Smith said that your dad like walked off the ice right as they won that game. Do you know anything about that or like?
No, I think he was. It's funny when the buzzer went off. My eyes. I remember what was going through my mind. I watched the countdown. I didn't get to hear Al Michaels say, "Do you believe miracles?" because I was there live. But I remember I wanted to watch what my dad did, so my eyes were fixated on him. And when the buzzer went or the clock went down to 0, I remember he jumped. He was either on the bench or on the ground. He jumped super high and did kind of a 360 in the air, and then I watched him go off the ice. I think he was so hard on those players that he felt that they would. I've heard him say they would probably have killed him if he would have gone on the ice. He just he felt it was their moment, it was their accomplishment. He felt that if he was on the ice, he would have taken something away from the players, and he was like that even up the last 20 years of his life after the '80 Olympics. He was always about kind of staying off to the side when the group of guys were together. He always felt it was their accomplishment. It was their their win, their gold. So I do know he did tell me this after Gary saw him obviously, but I do know he called Paul Giel, who was then his boss. Paul Giel was the athletic director at the University of Minnesota. My dad was still an employee at the University of Minnesota, and so I do know shortly after the victory, he did call Paul Giel, and I don't know what they talked about, but yeah, it was a special night.
Um. So did he like as his son? Was he as not mean but like as hard on you as he was the players?
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah, I always joke. You listen to these players talk about how hard it was to play for my dad for 1 year or 2 years or 4 years, and my response is, try living with him for 20 years. Uh, Obviously, that's a joke, but he was very very busy. He wasn't around a lot. When I grew up, he's coaching the University of Minnesota, and he had to rebuild that program when he took it over. So he was gone a lot. He was gone a lot. Very very dedicated, very very hardworking person. Put in a lot of hours, both running the team and then recruiting. And then when I was as I was in high school, again he was gone a lot with the team and recruiting. So yeah, he was. I mean, he was a, I would say an average father in terms of discipline. It wasn't too bad.
So what is the main goal of the Herb Brooks Foundation?
Well, after my dad, he coached for 9 seasons in the NHL over a 20-25 year period. He coached another Olympic team, the 2002 Olympic team, in there. St. Cloud State helped build that program, but there's a lot. He had time on his hands, and now a lot of people know. But he was very, very passionate in trying to build the game, trying to broaden the base of the pyramid, is what he called it, getting more kids to play hockey. And he did a lot of work. He was the driving force in getting the National Sports Center built in Blaine. He was a driving force in the Mighty Ducks grant in the early 90s that basically ushered in girls hockey, refurbished and built a lot of new arenas. But he's also very involved in a program his best friend, who's since passed away, Kyle Peterson, ran. It's called the John Mariucci Inner City Hockey Program. And so he always felt that there were great athletes in the inner cities of St. Paul and Minneapolis that don't play hockey, and those guys wanted to find that next great athlete. He grew up. There were 16 public high school hockey teams in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Now there's 2 or 3, I believe. And so, one of the missions of the Herb Brooks Foundation is to try to bring hockey back into the city. We have a variety of programs. Close to 1,000 kids have gone through these programs just last year that never played hockey before. We have a facility at the National Sports Center in Blaine where we bring kids and play. We do a lot of programs there. We do a lot of programs in the parks in Minneapolis and St. Paul. We got some great people that are involved. And then we got the Herb Brooks Award, which is at the state high school hockey tournament. We've now given 44 Herb Brooks Awards every year. And that's a big thing for those kids. My dad played in the state tournament in 1955. They were state champs. Scored the game-winning goal there, and so he's a big believer in he wants kids to stay in Minnesota, play high school hockey, not go and play junior. So doing a lot of great things, but really the key is growing the game back in the cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Great. So from it sounds like it, but do you think that they're currently successful, or like the Herb Brooks Foundation?
Well, we're very successful. We've had a ton of kids play that would have never played before. We're helping kids learn the game.
How do you think he is inspiring people today, or do you think he is inspiring people today?
Well, the story is such a great one. It's just amazing. I remember, I don't know what year it was, 04, 05, when the Boston Red Sox won the World Series. David Ortiz said he watched the movie Miracle before